The name is similar and whatever.
Yeah, you're never gonna do that. Or do you want to just you're finished with this or?
What's up?
Like what if there was like a.
That's good.
Segment where.
Yeah, the gourmet chef Sherry, and he makes us free breakfast and lunch every day.
It's really fun.
Are you kidding me?
Yesterday I had salmon on bagels and cream cheese, scrambled eggs, smoothie, Greek yogurt and fruit.
Why did you tell me about this job?
You know, I was talking to James's old boss about him, making chief Mark, and Mark pulls out his phone and starts listening to this company. It's like, it's good jobs. Yeah, that's been good, Sherry.
I didn't say anything about your
Job.
Yeah.
Well, it's all stuff, like, I only have one phone now, but I can come back so often, it's not dependent on the congressional schedule. So like, that's something too. So, yeah, it's good. Good, I appreciate you asking.
Well, I didn't finish your. How did I wind up with something?
It's pretty recent, it's about 2 months.
Right.
I know we were meeting and you mentioned it. You both age jobs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remind me what you do now in your new position.
So I work for a public policy think tank. It's called the American Enterprise Institute, and I work in their economics department.
Okay,
And so I work for 4 economists in the department. It's very similar to like a university department.
notice I got very quiet when you started that.
Okay, and what's it called? Public
It's called
policy?
AEI, it's called the American Enterprise Institute. I work for a couple of economists, one's named Glenn Hubbard. He was President Bush's top economic advisor. One is named Ed Glazer, Chair of Harvard's econ department.
Nebraska.
Yeah, a couple other ones in Montana, one's in Cornell.
One of the selection judges for.
And I get to go to the Hill all the time, like I was in
Related to the.
Senator Reed's office
And
yesterday.
then get the old one too.
So, pretty fun.
High school. and middle
It's
school.
fun for a while.
Yeah, and that's sort of like, it would get like an office that you have to come here.
Thanks for asking,
You're
Carrie.
comparing a
Certainly.
exhibit to-
Okay, we will call the meeting to order. And thank you all for coming. I know that it is, it's a drive for some of you, more of a drive than for others, but appreciate it. And it's always fun when we can have these in-person meetings and not just beyond the screen. So I need to read our required, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meeting Act is available for audience members. Additionally, there is a copy of all reproducible written material that will be discussed, available for examination and copy by members of the public pursuant to the provisions of the Open Meeting Act. Is there a way that AI can read that next time? Okay, we'll start with roll call and our newest staff member, Rigaro, who's, I think most of you have met when you came in. Margaret?
All right, so our virtual members, just a reminder to not sound off when I say your name. So Sherry Hofshire,
Here.
Brian Botsford,
Here.
Zachary Cheek.
Here.
Michelle Dudley. Here. Crystal Dunny. Jana Goranson. Here. John Goss. Karen Harris.
Oh, John is here.
He's on screen.
Julie Jacobson.
Yes.
Clark Coulterman.
Present.
Mark Laughlin.
Here.
Clark Roush.
Here.
Jeannie Salerno.
Here.
James Wright.
Here. She's been practicing your names.
Okay, approval of the agenda for today. Anybody have anything they want to change on it or edit? Then could I have a motion for approval, please?
I so move.
Thank you,
Second.
Clark Coleman and, Julie Jacobson. Second,
Hofshire.
yes.
Botsford.
Yes.
Cheek.
Yes.
Davis. Dudley.
Yes.
Dunny. Goranson.
Yes.
Gross. Harris. Jacobson.
Yes.
Holterman.
Yes.
Laughlin.
Yes.
Roush.
Yes.
Salerno.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Okay, then we move into oral communications, and Sherry Rudin, who is the executive director here of the Norfolk the Arts Center, is going to give us a quick welcome.
Yes, welcome. We are here in the Norfolk Arts Center. We do also use NAC, so, talked about that earlier. The Norfolk Arts Center has been here in the community since 1978. Actually started in the basement of the Carnegie Library building. Then they moved into this building in 2000. So we are 25 years here in this beautiful building. Our space here, we do have a large gallery and we also have artwork in the atrium. I know a lot of you are planning to come back. We have an opening reception tonight. So in the gallery, we have Kim Darling, and in the atrium, Kim is from Omaha. And in the atrium, we have Shannon Olson, and Shannon Olson is from Neely. So both Nebraska artists right now, here in our space. I do have some information about that, and I'll just set it on your table if you wanna pick one up, when you have a break or when you're leaving. We also have been working, with the Nebraska Arts Council for a lot of years. And we've been applying and getting basic support grants. We actually right now have an artist in residence. So we're doing an artist in schools and community grant. Our project is actually sitting in the classroom. So if you're here and want to take a peek, there's some information on the back of here about that project. And we've been doing some community workshops with Kim Darling for that project there. And we're just very thankful for the support of the arts. I think I grew up in Iowa and coming here to Nebraska, there's nothing like the support of the arts that is happening here in Nebraska. Thank you.
Well, and we have enjoyed a long relation. My very first year, 15 years ago, I came to do a grant workshop right here in this very room. And since then, we've been up here a number of times. And we always appreciate the hospitality, and it is such a hub of activity here in the city. So thank you for all your service over the years as well.
Thank you.
Any questions for Sherry? Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for hosting it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Great partner, Nebraska Cultural Endowment, Miss Maggie Smith.
Hi, everyone. So good to see you. I don't have my slide in front of me.
Who's running the show?
Speed up a little, Mike. All right.
Sam, what do I do?
I apologize. I probably should have just.
Pushing
put it out
arrows.
so it's in front of my face.
Maybe you need to do
Is
it
it
now.
on? Yes.
Oh, is it on?
There we go.
All right.
Just reintroducing myself. I'm Maggie Smith. I'm the director of the Cultural Endowment, which supports the Arts Council as well as Humanities Nebraska by distributing earnings from our fund every year. That would be our private fund, as well as the Cultural Endowment, the Cultural Preservation Endowment Fund, which you all probably are very well aware of, because Mike reports on it regularly. So I just wanted to give a few quick updates. Our funding update is that we have raised over $7 million towards our $10 million goal for 2030. And we recently, just a little development update, we recently found out the Sherwood Foundation has committed $50,000 to our operations in 2026. They had given us, for the first time ever, a grant for $50,000 towards our operations in 25. And then we found out a few months ago that we are part of their sort of automatic rotation, meaning we didn't even have to apply for it for 26. They just automatically gave it to us. So it's really exciting to be part of their giving, since they typically don't support endowments. So they are supporting our operational budget instead. So I'm excited about that. We are working right now on our development and marketing plans, which will be approved in our October board meeting in Kearney. And we did want to update you, and I think Mike might speak a little bit about this too. I'm not sure, but in the last legislative session, the legislature did vote to pause the match transfers to the Cultural Endowment Preservation Fund for 2 years as part of a budget balancing measure. And our Government Relations Committee, which is co-chaired by Rita Sinner and David Buntain, will meet in September. Actually, I just sent out the invite today. We're meeting on September 23rd. to discuss how to proceed with the new legislative session. So we do also have a lobbyist that we retain, and the Arts Council and Humanities Nebraska all contribute to that lobbyist retainer, and Corby is going to be joining us as well. Corby Gilbertson, who is Walt Radcliffe's daughter-in-law, who has taken over his firm, is now our full-time lobbyist, and she is going to be joining us as well, hopefully, for that meeting. And we will decide what we're going to do about the pause. Luckily, it doesn't mean that we're not going to get the money. It just means that we're not going to get it for the next 2 years, and this is probably going to push it out so that our 2030 goal might end up being a 2022 goal, but this is all sort of still, hi, Margaret, I didn't know you were here. Might just be, we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do about it, but we've got some really great people on our government relations committee, including Mike Markey, and I'm sure that we're gonna all figure that out. And we'll update you in the next meeting on what we're gonna do about that. You can click to the next one.
Look at that.
Who's trying to get in?
What?
Uh-oh. I think almost everybody in this room has probably been around when I have talked a little bit about the Nebraska Cultural Investment Report. I used to call it like a data study or a research study that we were working on. We now have officially branded it the Nebraska Cultural Investment Report. And the subtitle is How the Arts and Humanities Impact Our Economy, Communities, and Wellbeing. We have partnered with Amplify Arts as well as the UNO School of Public Affairs Research to create this research plan that we have been working on now for almost 2 years. We have, our biggest funder is the Sherwood Foundation, which has contributed over $250,000 to the research project so far. But we do have a handful of other funders as well. And we are currently at the kind of almost the end of the initial research phase. And what happens after that is we convene a November engagement panel, which will convene to discuss how best to use the research and package and release it to the public, hopefully in 2026. We have, as far as the research, the engagement panel, we have felt like it was because what we want this report to do is be really useful for folks, like for instance, the art and culture and humanities community in Norfolk, to be able to go to their state and local municipalities and say, this is why it's really important that you invest in arts and culture in your town. It creates economic stimulation, it creates job growth, it improves health and wellness. So we want people in your communities to be able to use something really helpful and package it up in a way that they will find really useful for these particular types of conversations. So we've asked people on the ground, folks that like Margaret, who's in the room, Lance here, and folks from all over the state that are from small and large communities that work in the arts and culture space to come. I think we're going to have about 40 folks there, and they're going to come and join us, and they're going to help us figure out how to take this research and make it into something really beneficial and useful for all of Nebraskans. And hopefully that'll get rolled out in 2026. That's our goal. So I'm excited about that. And I think that's my last slide. Is that it? Oh,
Look at that.
I
One
knew I
more.
had one more. We are holding our second annual gratitude gathering on October 23rd. And that's going to be, it's something we started last year just to thank all of our regular patrons to the endowment. And last year we had it at the Jocelyn Art Museum. This year we're going to have it at Mona, which, as most of you know, has just been recently renovated. It's absolutely beautiful. And everyone on this board has been put on a list to get an invitation to the gratitude gathering. They are in the mail, I believe, next week, so you should be getting one fairly soon. So keep your eyes out for that invitation. And if you would like to come and join us on the 23rd of October in Kearney at the Museum of Nebraska Art, we would be so thrilled to have. So hopefully everybody can make it. And that's it for me, unless anyone has questions.
Well, I have a question for you. When is our next meeting after this one?
December 9th.
It's virtual.
Would it be appropriate to ask? She mentioned with the, on November, they're meeting with the lobbyists to discuss the upcoming session. That since we contribute to that, to ask that lobbyist to speak before our board at that meeting, so we can get an updated picture of what they're seeing in the legislative session.
That's what we've done. Good idea, thank you. Anything else for Maggie?
Thanks, everyone.
All right, we are joined by, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I want to introduce Margaret. You were hiding behind the wall here.
Sorry.
Margaret,
And I was
Fields, most of you have met her at some point. She is the, I don't know the official title, but Advocacy Director with Mid-America Arts Alliance, and she has, I think she spends half of the time coming up to Omaha and to Nebraska and meeting with people. But she also spends the other half out in DC in lobbying, so.
And sing.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't see you before. Okay,
We might mention that Stephen Maryland.
well, and I'm sorry, Steve Worth and his wife Marilyn. Steve is, I call him Mr. Brownville,
Yeah.
because he's the one. He has made so many things happen in Brownville, Nebraska, including getting a creative district recognition very early on. You were like three, you know, that's pretty strong. And so he continues to do things, and welcome.
And Lance is here to talk to us about the Nebraskans for the Art. I pushed the button.
All right, good afternoon, everyone, and this is kind of good timing to talk about advocacy, because Margaret and I we were over here at the library with Americans for the Arts advocacy update, so we we have updated information to talk about. But before that, just give you a little update on our second slide here. We have a lot of new people on our board this year, and we just had our board meeting the other day, which was great. Really great people, energetic group of people ready to do some really good advocacy work. So we're really excited. You might see some names there you see familiar. We've got some Freedom District people on our advocacy group board now, so which is really wonderful. There you can see everybody, and the next slide, just some updates from the Nebraska side. Really what we've been doing is, I've been doing a lot of coffee meetings with senators, really this is that time of the year to do that. And this is actually a picture of Congressman Flood. He was back and he actually stopped by the Lux Center and met with Joe, and Joe is very smart. He didn't advertise it because he didn't want anybody coming to maybe disrupt their opportunity to walk around and see all the art and all the work that they're doing. I also attended the Civic Nebraska vote mapping workshop, which was really quite interesting. And really, as we look forward, and we'll be having conversations about the culture endowment, but it's really gonna be about budget going into this next year. And so we'll see how all that kind of plays out. And as we just heard, this is kind of the case in every state. Every state now is starting to see the forecast of their fiscal forecast is not good in pretty much every state. So we're all gonna be in kind of the same situation here. The next slide is some things at the national level. I actually had 2 trips to DC this summer, one in June and one in July. The second one was very targeted. Americans for the Arts brought myself and about 15 other people. This was the week that the Senate Interior and Natural Resources Committee met to do their markup of the FY 26 appropriations. The week before, the House did their markup, and if you might recall, you might have heard that they were reducing federal funding for NEA and NEH by 35%. So it was really pretty timely that we were there. There's always some little things going on in the background. And now the Senate actually passed at that time level funding, which is great. But what we just heard right now on our meeting that we just had, obviously they have to the end of the month to pass the FY 26 budget. And right now it's really leaning that this will be a shutdown. With maybe the only exception is that they may combine veterans, legislative and defense. Am I getting that right? They were kind of bouncing around with those.
It was, the 3 bills that have, appropriations bills that have passed Senate and House appropriations. It was legislature.
Yeah.
One person said veterans, another said military construction. and agriculture.
Yeah, and
So there
Dina
may be
did
a
say
mix,
agriculture at the end.
but they see three
Yeah.
appropriation bills.
So they might combine those three and get those passed, but everything else will probably go into a continuing resolution, and I'm getting the sense that they think this could be a long one. So, just something we have to be aware of, going into this. They also talked about, there was a rescission bill, presented, and they passed it, that really eliminated funding for the, public medium. These rescission bills will continue to happen, we are afraid, and a new word I heard today was the pocket rescission, which has not been used very often. But, they're gonna come back and do even more cutting, like especially in the USID and all those types of things, so, so we'll need to keep an eye on all that, Nina, who's a part of the Arts Action Fund at the national level, she's having a lot of close conversations with Representative Simpson, who's in charge of who's the chair of the Interior Committee on the House side. And so the best thing we can do is if we get level funding for NEA and NEH, that is gonna be an absolutely huge win. So that's really what we're kind of focusing in on. For couple other executive memos that they expressed through here, this is not up there. But you might remember or heard this through some news, but on August 7th, there was an executive order empowering oversight of federal grant offerings. And that's for all federal agencies across the board. So, that's something we're keeping an eye on. On August 25th, there was an executive order, prosecuting the burning of the flag. You maybe heard that a lot in the news. And so there's some artists and arts organizations are just keeping an eye on that if it gets, because you think about a lot of artwork that, and this is not dealing with burning the flag, but if you're, is taking the flag and using it in not what they consider appropriate. And you think about all types of different artwork that does use flags, a mural does that, and so there's so many questions that come up out of this. So, again, just kind of keeping an eye on that one. August 28th, there was also another executive order about federal architectural, making federal architectural beautiful again. So now there's a new Office of Design in the White House. And they basically are going to, I guess they're the ones who changed the Rose Garden into a cement slab. So there's that. Then August 28th, this is a new one, presidential memorandum. So this is not an executive order, but this is the one that we need to keep an eye on, and it's a memorandum, the use of appropriated funds for lobbying or political activity for federal grantees. This is again impacting cultural agencies, education. Obviously, there is a law already that you can't do that, but this specific memorandum is asking the Attorney General to investigate and report any agencies that have done any political activity to the White House. So, and again, a little bit of a backstory, going back to July when they opened up the door for churches to be able to be exempt of the Johnson law as far as a political activity. Now we see this pop up. So again, we're just as Nina said, there's nothing that we should probably need to do differently, but we definitely want to be crossing our T's and dotting the I's. Just to kind of make sure that we're in the clear, but again, it's just one of those things they're keeping an eye on. So anyway, there's just a few updates that we had from today. My other the stories up there, I've worked with a lot of these offices throughout the last 6 months, and I will say Senator Ricketts' office has reached out numerous times as we've been trying to get the NEA grant money back, and there's been a lot of our groups that have done appeals. And I don't know, did I put another slide on that? Maybe the next one? Yeah, well, we'll talk about the arts education one, but at the end here, so not so good news. A lot of our arts organizations that did appeal the rescission of or the termination of their NEA grant from May, what we're hearing now is most of them are being denied. And then the simple reason is that they don't feel that their project meets the agenda of the president. So that's what we're seeing right now. There's some arts organizations that applied for the next round of grants, and they have heard really nothing yet where they are with that. So, that's been a lot of our work. That's kind of one of the reasons I went to DC a couple times this summer, but we're getting the deny a lot. But let's give you some good news. The Arts Education for All Act, I think I mentioned this maybe in our last meeting, but we did have Representative Bacon, who was a co-sponsor of that, which was great. And, which leads us to, well, maybe not. I'll talk about this. We'll come back to the National Arts Education Week. Just so you know, we're gonna do our Arts Advocacy Day, but we've renamed it. We're gonna call it Arts and Culture Day at the Capitol, and it's gonna be on February 4th. That's our day we'll do some workshops, we'll do some opportunities to network, we'll have an opportunity to meet with our state senators. We moved this up to the beginning of the month because we feel like we need to be there early this year and making those connections. The night before, and we'll make sure you're all invited to this, is on February 3rd, we'll do another evening reception and hoping to get all the senators there. We're all gonna need to contact Corby, because she had mentioned last spring that if we let them know the date, which we now have, you can maybe get it on their legislative calendar, so they can't do anything else that night except come to this. Well, they can, but I mean, we'll hope that there's nothing else scheduled on top of this. So anyway, going to give you that, so you can put that on your date. Or on your calendar. And the last one here is what I was gonna talk about. The National Arts and Education Week is next week. And tomorrow, there is a webinar by Americans for the Arts, and Danielle Lorian, who is our president-elect for Nebraskans for the Arts, is gonna be on one of the panels. So I'm gonna probably sneak off in the corner tomorrow and watch that webinar. So we're very excited, and we worked really hard because they really wanted to have Congressman Bacon on that webinar too. Unfortunately, he just had a conflict that he couldn't get out of. But going back to what I had on that previous slide, he is, again, the fact that he's a co-sponsor of our arts education, and I just had a great meeting with him this summer. He was really asking the questions about the grants and how we're doing and getting the money back, and his office has been very supportive of that as well. So next week, if you're not following our social media, please do, because we'll be sending out a lot of things. And you know, if you're in your community, if you have an opportunity, pop into the school and say thank you to your arts educators, or send them a note telling them thank you, or bring them donuts, I don't know. But that's the heart of the future of our arts and culture, is what's happening in the school. So we need to do that. So did I miss anything, Margaret, from that was a jam-packed meeting for an hour.
I think you're good.
Okay.
I think you're good.
Well, lots going on at the federal level. We're so lucky to have Lance and Margaret working closely with him on so much of this. So thank you very much for that thorough review of what you guys just all learned. Yeah. Lots of questions.
Yeah, any questions for Lance?
We'll keep you informed as news breaks.
Thank you. Busy town. Okay, we need approval of the minutes from the June meeting, and may I request that in the several things that we have to do with voter approval, if you make a motion for Margaret's benefit, would you give your last name when you make it? Because she's trying to put names to faces, but it comes out kind of as a plural when we're going fast. So please just say, like, I move, and then give your last name. Okay, I need somebody to move approval of the minutes from the June meeting.
So moved, Clark Roush.
Seconded Dudley. Hampshire,
Yes,
Botsford,
Yes.
Cheney,
Yes.
Davis. Goranson,
Yes.
Dunning. Jacobson,
Yes.
Holterman,
Yes.
Loudwin,
Yes.
Salerno,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
okay, moving on to financial reports, and to turn this over to the chair of the finances. Janet.
We had a effective meeting that we went over everything. It was very well organized, and I think I will turn it over to Margaret now, and she will kind of give you an idea of our last year and also the month of July.
Margaret's going to do next time.
Okay.
I'll do this one so that you can,
Okay.
And this will be very, very brief, as we talked about, we did go over all these in the finance, but if you have any questions about any of this, don't hesitate to give me a holler, okay? And I wish, yeah, I could see that, but I've got mine in front of me. So at any rate, ending last fiscal year, we ended up just about where we had hoped to be, spending just about all of the general dollars that we received. The only monies that we did not spend were approximately 3%, and that is for salaries that get carried over into the coming year. That 21,000 that you see at the end gets carried over to cover the salaries at the end of the fiscal year. The other is that 565,240 that you see in program 327. Those are the encumbered funds for the creative districts, and those get carried over as well. So we'll have that money to spend. At any rate, the important numbers for you are the year-to-date expenditures, and you see that we spent 995,961.43 in program 326. In program 327, we spent $2,902,552.49, and in program 329, $903,359. And those dollars are the $55,000 that we are appropriated to administer the program 329, and then the drawdowns that we had, which totaled $848,359. So it was a good year in terms of the market and the amount of money that we were able to draw down from the Cultural Preservation Endowment Fund. This is the state report. It's by law, has to match with our books. Our books are here, and you can see by the red boxes that our financials meet exactly with the states. Does anybody have any questions about how we ended up the fiscal year or the dollars that we had left over? Oh, I should mention the other dollars that we have are the federal dollars, $92,001.20, and the $174,152.64. Those get carried over as well into the new year, and you'll see those when I give the FY25 report. Any questions about FY24?
Okay, just to clarify.
Yeah.
Is the available funds that are left over, are you showing us basically that we came in expenses under budget, or this is right on what we thought we'd be, or?
It's right about where it's where we have to be.
Okay,
We're allowed to spend 100%.
right,
We spent 97.3.
okay,
The remainder of that is the salaries that get carried over, and you'll see that they get encumbered into the new year when I give the new report.
okay,
And those get spent on the salaries that were encumbered at the end of the last fiscal year,
okay,
that last pay period.
good, okay.
Good question. All right, we can vote to approve those.
Chief, forgive me. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'll move, Chief.
Oh.
If that's.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Zach.
Seconded, Julie.
Thank you, Julie. Chief and Jacobson.
Abshire,
Yes.
Botsford,
Yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Dunning. Goranson,
Yes.
Colderman,
Yes.
Laughlin,
Yes.
Roush,
Yes.
Salerno,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
The Margaret's were throwing me off. You're saying Margaret's gonna talk about the budget. I'm thinking, what's Margaret doing talking about the budget? So.
We got
Margaret.
Keep the players straight.
Yeah.
I think we have nameplates.
Okay.
Getting into FY25, I wanted to show you this because at the last meeting, we did not know, one, if we were gonna get an NEA grant, or two, what it was going to be. We didn't receive word until July, and so I wanted to give you the final numbers on that. And as you can see, in the blue area at the bottom, we actually received $100,938 more than we received last year, and I'll explain why. Our regular funding was held at about the same level as last year. We actually got an extra $9,000, but that held about the same as last year. Where the increase came in is that if you remember, I mentioned that we applied for an additional 75,000 from the NEA for research into an arts, health and wellness program. That was a new initiative set up by the NEA last year. You could ask for either 25,000 for program support or 75,000, as I mentioned, for research. We asked for the 75,000, we got the 75,000. 25 of that will be able to be used for the creative aging arts program. The other 50,000 we'll use to research over the next year exactly what we want to be doing going forward from here. The other 25,000 was at a certain point in the year last year, they sent out a memo saying, do you anticipate doing any programming for America 250? I wrote back and said, yes, actually we are. And to our surprise, we received an extra $25,000 in our award for being able to do programming. That money will be used to support the work that we're doing for the I-80 Bicentennial Sculpture Project, as well as being able to offer some specific grants for people who are doing programming and projects to celebrate America 250. So a couple of nice surprises. Those dollars are already spoken for, but they'll be put to good use. That's the reason that there is an increase in the federal spending this time. Any questions about that? Going forward this next year, we will have the opportunity to ask for another, somebody help me, is it 25 or 50 for the NEA for arts, health and wellness?
I think it's 50.
I think it's 52, thank you. And so we will be asking for that come September. And we can certainly put that money to good use.
Pause on that subject.
Yeah.
So the first 50 essentially is for research.
Mhm.
And then we potentially can ask for another 50, that will be for the programming.
For the next year, for actual programming, yeah.
So can you describe real briefly about how we envision this research? Is this a contracted opportunity with the university? When we talking about research, what does that entail?
Well, it involves a number of things, because there are a number of things that come under that umbrella: veteran services, creative aging arts program, accessibility. And so we've already got a number of opportunities, and I believe Josh and Ann will be speaking to them a little bit later in their programming.
Okay, then I don't want to jump into that.
Very good, but suffice to say, we've already got a number of it already laid out, and we'll be spending a good deal of time on that, talking to people about what they want and how we can help do it.
Copy, thank you.
Next meeting for us is in December.
That's correct.
And ninth, and so you'll be applying in September for an additional,
For next year,
for next year, okay.
next year's NEA grant. It used to be you applied every 3 years, you now apply every year.
And when will you hear back?
Usually it's in April,
Okay,
but we'll see. Any other questions about that? If not, we will begin on FY 25. And this is the state report. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time here because it's easier to explain where we are using our appropriation summary. Because on this page, you can see that carryover column, the $92,000 that I mentioned in federal, in program 326, and in program 327, that 174,000, as well as the 565,000. So you can see that carryover from the previous year we're able to use for this fiscal year. Then you see our appropriation, as I had reported on before, giving total budget numbers for the coming year. Then you can see the important information in the year-to-date column, the expenditures that we've had for just the first month, just getting started. They're exactly where we anticipate they should be. The other thing that I want to show you, though, is the encumbrance there. You can see those dollars that were encumbered for the salaries from the previous year. Those will go away once the encumbrance is certified in October. Okay. That is where we are. I did nothing. Did you do that, Sam? You do them from now on, because I'm pushing the hell out of the button here. And I'm getting nothing, so I'll tell you from now. Switch a slide, please. Oh, that's right. Never mind. We need to talk about that first. Any questions about the FY 25 financials?
So, well, I'm not sure if this is appropriate, but
Sure.
knowing that we're coming into a budget shortfall, right? And And the expenditures we made at this past year, I think were the very base expenditures that we could, right? I don't know that I see the room. I don't wanna pre-propose where, but I'm assuming you have a concept of what we would have ability to negotiate.
Yeah.
on.
Should we receive word that we need to do the 10% reduction? Right now, that's just a rumor for us, and because we're a non-code agency, we wouldn't have to do it, although we probably would. I've looked at the $174,000 that we have in program 327 from federal carryover. Some of that is already earmarked for in case we have to do a reduction. If you remember last year, one of the things that we were preparing ourselves for was that we might not get any federal dollars this year. So we were very conservative in our use of those federal dollars, and you can see just how many we're carrying over: $92,000 in program 326, 174 in program 327. So we're set up. We have, for want of a better word, a pot of money from last year that would carry us. If we should have not to have to use it, if they don't ask for that reduction, then we'll find a good use for it, or we can carry those dollars over to the next year as well. So, yeah, we're set up okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Any other questions about program 320 or about the FY25 budget? All right,
We need a vote. Ready?
And the vote is specifically to do what?
to approve the FY25 budget report as of July 31st.
So moved. James Wright.
Second, Goranson.
Thank you.
Hampshire,
Yes.
Botsford,
Yes.
Cheek,
Yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Dunning. Yes. Jacobson,
Yes.
Coulterman.
Yes.
Laughlin,
Yes.
Roush,
Yes.
Salerno.
Yes.
Sam, if you wouldn't mind, the slide, please. Just a real quick report on the CPEF balance. That's a graph on the left of the improvement in the market over the last year. The big jump there is that $1 million increase to the corpus that happened in January. But you can see the blue line there. We've had good market reports for the entire year. And there you can see that we did have, since the July 1st, one drawdown of $436,000, 804 cents, or $804, excuse me. The latest report we just got, and that is at the end of July, the balance in the account was 15,455,000. I need to caution that since that report went in, we made that drawdown of 436,000. So there's actually only about $8,000 available to be drawn down. Our policy is we don't draw anything down unless there's $100,000 to draw down. But if the market continues to inch its way up, we may have another drawdown in the month to come. So just a quick report on that. If anybody has any questions about CPEF or the balance or drawdowns. Otherwise, Sam? Oh, one more, please. Okay. As mentioned before, the budget coming up, we have the opportunity to put in a deficit budget request. What monies you think that you didn't get in the previous session that you're now needing. Two things happened. One is that after the fiscal year began, after the legislative session last year, they increased our health costs. They went from 11% increase to 18% increase. That meant a jump to our budget of $29,446. I want to do a budget deficit request that will ask for that money. Probably won't get it, as you all know, we have a budget issue, but it is something that we're allowed to ask for, and so I want to put it in as a budget deficit request. The other reason that I'm gonna put it in the deficit request is because we wanna ask for that $1 million that we didn't get last year for the creative districts. Again, don't anticipate that we'll get it, but it will be an opportunity to stand in front of the appropriation committee and tell them what a wonderful program the creative districts has been. Cite them the new numbers about the success and the increases in tax revenue and visitor improvement. So so for those two reasons, I do want to put in the budget deficit request. I need your approval to be able to do that. So if anybody has any questions about either of those two items or why we're not asking for anything else, I'd be happy to answer them.
I will move to approve this request.
Can we pause on that real quick?
Sure.
I'm sorry. Uh, With due respect, I would ask that we talk to our lobbyists about what the lay of the land is gonna look like in this session. I mean, my perspective, this legislative body is gonna have to make some really tough choices. And I am concerned where think they're gonna find the easy targets, and I think as a body, before I don't know whether we draw, I don't know what the feeling is.
Well, thank you, and I should have said that before I went to this extent. I did have talks with our fiscal analyst, our budget analyst, John Stinner, all about their thoughts on this. They all agreed with me that you're probably not gonna get it. None of them thought that it would be a bad idea to ask for it.
Okay.
None of them thought that they would kick me out of the room and never give us any money again, which is a concern, but yeah.
And Walt, I mean, Corey as well.
Did not ask Corby about this. She doesn't consult on our budget.
And I think that with the cost adjustment, the health going up, if nothing else, they need to know that that's happening, not just to us, but to everybody that has.
Yeah, that was a direct recommendation from our budget analyst, or fiscal analyst was, you should ask for that so that they know exactly that you are getting a hit.
So with that, then,
Thank you, though. I should have said that in my report.
Okay, so Zach has moved. Do I have a second?
Second, Salerno.
Thank you, Selena. Okay,
Shire,
yes.
Botsford,
Yes.
Dudley,
Yes.
Dunny.
Yes.
Goranson,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Holterman,
Yes.
Laufman.
Yes.
Laughlin, sorry. Roush,
Yes.
Wright,
yes.
Okay, then moving on to grant reports and approvals section, the change requests, the NAC Development Corps contractual partnership.
One more, please. Real quickly, last June, you all approved a grant for funds to go to NAC Development Corporation for $100,000. It included $25,000 for school bus grants, as it always does. Since that time, one of the changes that the NEA made to its guidelines makes that problematic for us anymore. So we want to make those grants through NAC instead of NAC DC. We started doing them through NAC DC because they're reimbursement grants, and oftentimes we wouldn't get the reimbursement receipts in time, and we were in danger of losing those dollars. We now have a 2-year performance period for the federal grant, and if we do all the grants in the first year, it won't be a problem. Probably more information than you wanted, but at any rate, we can now do those grants through NAC instead of NAC DC. It's advisable that we do so. So we need to ask you to amend our grant report, our grant to NAC DC to remove the $25,000 for school bus grants.
So moved, right.
Second Dudley.
Thank you.
Shire,
Yes.
Botsford,
Yes.
Chief,
Yes.
Dunny, Goranson,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Holterman,
Yes.
Laughlin,
Yes.
Roush,
Yes.
Salerno.
Yes.
Loading deadline grants report.
If you have any questions about anything that you saw in the floating deadline grant report, please, otherwise, we can move on to others.
We applaud your team, the work that they do on all that.
Please do.
Please, thank you
Yes.
very much, all your staff for making stuff, but you guys do great work on it.
Anybody have anything to add to that?
I would just say that we are getting more and more floating deadline grants, which is always great to see people out there doing more and new arts projects and such. As I've said, we'll find good use for the funds that we have, so.
Okay, then we go on, and the next thing is my chair report, and let's see.
I'm sorry, we tossed in a slide.
Okay,
This is real quickly, we have art panels, the panel grant, the grant review panels coming up in November. These are the dates. We'll also send around an email after this meeting asking you if you have interest in serving on any of these panels. But if you see anything that sparks your interest there and you wanna serve on anything, you have lots of wonderful staff members around here. They'd be glad to talk to you about them. Otherwise, we will send out a survey after the meeting.
When they say day one, day two, are we to would you just be on one of those days? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, you can just do one,
Yes.
or all of them.
It says.
I mean, could I possibly be on all of those days?
In your spare time.
It says if needed, because we don't know the number of grants that we'll need, and whether we'll need a second day. Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Okay. Next slide, please. See what, okay, I just have a couple quick things. One is that I want to just reiterate that both Mike and I are doing a lot with Mid-America Arts Alliance and the National Assembly of State Arts Agencies known as NASA, whenever they have things that we can get involved in. You can see some of the upcoming meetings. NASA has a board meeting that will be doing virtual for all of the states and territories that belong to that. Mid-America, we were in Kansas City in June, and the Mid-America board meeting this November is going to be virtual in light of the fact that so much has been cut from the federal level that, you know, most of the groups can't get to a place for the meeting, so we're doing it virtually. The executive forum for NASA is going to be here in Omaha. And I'll let Mike just tell you a couple of just overview of what it is.
Sure. If you remember, I mentioned that they'd be coming, and this is an opportunity for the executive directors and the deputy directors to talk about those core issues that we're facing. Obviously, we've got some things to talk about this time. It is not like the big assembly where we went to Puerto Rico and there was a lot of activity outside the meeting. It is designed to be as literally intrusive on the host organization as much as possible. So they will come here, spend a couple of days. They will have dinners on their own. There will be an opportunity for them to go on a few excursions. Those aren't set yet. They're looking at El Museo, the Caneco, Bemis, possibly Joslin. And also they will make available to folks opportunities, tickets to be able to go to, say, Playhouse or Blue Barn. Some of those, again, those aren't set yet. I think that they're being wise and making sure that they can stay close to the Old Market area, just in case. Second week in November, you never know what you're gonna have. But again, it is a very insular meeting for that. There really isn't a role for the board, but if any of those meetings or receptions are such that I can have you guys come to it, I will let you know. I don't have the final information yet, but I did tell them, I'm sure that people are gonna be curious about what folks are gonna do while they're here. That's the information I have as of today.
So they're going to be here, and the nice thing about it is they do everything, and they don't expect everybody, the staff to take care of stuff for them, so that's a good thing. We'll see how it goes. I want to also put in a word for Mid-America. Amongst the many things they do, like Margaret and advocacy and all, one of the things is Exhibit USA, which is a really outstanding program. You can easily just, I can send you something, or you can go to Mid-America and look it up. They have exhibits that they put together that are all ready to go. They're framed, they're ready to hang. They ship them out to you for a very, very low price. And there are probably 40 or 50 of them now, that some of them, that most of them will go for 3 to 5 years. There are a couple of them that have been extended to 7 or 8 years because of their popularity. So most of them are works on paper because of the ease in both shipping and hanging. You don't have to be a Jocelyn for these. In fact, most of the places they go to are rural, smaller areas. I strongly urge you to look at it. Popol Vuh was one that was here at El Museo Latino last year, which was a contemporary, reimagining based on Mayan art of the early Guatemalan creation story. And the guy from New York, the artist who did that, took the verbal tale and he looked at that early Mayan art and did the story, and it was wonderfully done. These are there's so many things that cover a whole broad spectrum of environment or a literature or whatever. So if you know any, organization in your area that is looking for an all ready to go exhibit, please take a look at these because they're really good. The other thing is I want to tell you about the executive committee. When I came on board, there, we don't have officers per se or like an organization does. And we don't have committees because the staff does all of our work. So it listed executive committee and mine was the only name on it as chair. And in that first year or so, was like, I was just trying to figure out who was who and where to go next, that I didn't pay any attention to it. Then as we got to a point where I knew that Suzanne was going to be retiring, we were going to have a new executive director. I thought, things ran so smoothly. She'd been here so long that it wasn't like there was ever a question. But what if with a new person coming in, I thought we should have the structure of an executive committee. And we checked, there are no so-called bylaws or anything that we work by. It's just, we kind of do it what we want. So I took the initiative and I appointed the executive committee. Mark was vice chair. And at that time it was Alex who was head of the finance committee. But I went from the structure of other nonprofits that I've been on. Usually executive committee are your officers, but we don't have officers per se. But I thought that the executive committee should be the chair, the vice chair, what would be the treasurer, the finance committee chair, and then we don't work with the secretary per se. So I thought a past chair, if there is a past chair that's on the board, and or another board member, so there'd be at least 4 people. And so I set up an executive committee, and it was Mark and Michelle and Alex, and then Jana came on as a finance person. Well, now we're losing a couple of people, so I want to tell you that this is what we're doing. I've asked Brian if he'd come on as vice chair, and he said yes. And Jana will continue to be the finance chair, and James has agreed to come on as a board member. So we have that way, if things come, there are things that we can look to the executive committee for a quick decision. We only met once this past time, but if anything comes up in the future, we've got it set. Questions?
Good decisions.
Well, thank you. I like structure, as you probably know. Okay, then, next slide. All right, I don't really want to lose either one of these people. They both came on about the same time I did. Let's start with Michelle. She came on at exactly the same time I did because we came on 20 months later we were appointed, so it was about 22 months later than we were supposed to with appointments, and it was all virtual. We were in the middle of COVID. So we finally met down at the legislature when we had our hearings and all, and that was, the first time, which was really nice. Michelle is from here in Norfolk, and this has been a thriving arts community for a long time, and she's been very, very active here in this community for a long time. And everything that whenever I've asked for her support or anything from her, she's been there. So I really appreciate, she's a wonderful advocate for the arts. She's a wonderful advocate for her community and by extension, the entire state. So we're really going to miss you. And I'm gonna sit behind you here and grab you.
Oh, yeah. I was like, how to get away with the hug.
And just a little something from the board for your service. And Mark, I don't know if all of you know that Mark, he's finishing his second of 2 terms. So he had 6 years, I don't know how many years ago, but a time ago. then he was off, and then he came back and had another 2 terms. Now, if that isn't commitment to this organization, I think it says it all. And he's been active with Omaha Playhouse and lots of things, so he's been a real advocate for the art. He has friends in high places, which has helped us, just with little things that he's been able to say to people. He's been an incredible mentor and advisor to me, and I really, really, really appreciate all. I will call him when I have things that I am wondering about. So we are going to miss you very much, and I know you'll continue to be active in the arts.
Yes.
There you go. So thank you to both of you. As
Yeah.
you were-
You sit out a term and then you can come back.
I don't know, are there any regulations that?
Nope, just 2 terms and you're out.
Okay, that's it for my report. So we'll move on now to your report.
Sure. One more, please. First is to welcome our new Director of Administration. I've asked Margaret if she wouldn't mind telling you a little bit about herself. She is going to be your best friend for the next, however long you're on the board. So
Mike has been smiling since she came. So we're all.
I sleep at night.
Yeah.
He took a Sunday off.
That's trust.
Tell folks about yourself, where you come from.
So I'm from Omaha, Nebraska here, born and raised, have a strong administrative and nonprofit background. Graduate of Creighton University with an arts degree. Art history is my major, fine arts is my minor, with a minor in German as well. And then I spent some time in Milwaukee just for some professional development. And worked a little bit more in nonprofits, and I got to explore a little bit more of the financial aspects of things. And so brought me back to Omaha, I just to be closer to family and to be with family. So that's been really rewarding to be closer and to be more a part of things here. So I am hoping that I can streamline some things. I've already had some ideas and already have enacted some of the proposals that I have gotten. So streamlining some contracts, streamlining QuickBooks usage, as well as Bill.com interactions. And so I'm absolutely looking forward to working with all of you and our amazing staff that put so much work into everything here, and very excited for however long you'll have me.
Oh, she's been great. I was able to do the job because I work hard. She works smart, and that's so much more valuable. She's already found a lot of ways that we can use some of the technology and tools that we have. Every time I work with her, it's like, oh gosh, I didn't know we did that. So it's been a joy so far. And please reach out to her anytime you have any questions. Challenger.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam. Just a couple of things that happened over the, unfortunately, Elizabeth Palomino was not able to join us today because little August, who was born in May, has got a cold. And so she stayed home with him. So we have increased our numbers over the summer. And just real quickly, they took a Office on Wheels trip out to Gering, Nebraska, where you can see the fruit of your grant to them a couple years ago. They have established the Gering Civic Sculpture Garden that includes a Catherine Ferguson, a Kaneko, and I can't remember the third artist. At any rate, that's been a wonderful addition to that community, which will be part of our cross promotion for the 500-mile sculpture garden. So just a couple of updates about what happened this summer. And I just mentioned the I-80 Bicentennial Sculpture Project. This will be a large part of what we do for the next year. But I wanted to give you a heads up on some things that will be happening. Some really great things have been coming into shape. John Ramonde, whose picture you see there, he was the gentleman who did Irma's Desire down there in the corner, which is at the Grand Island rest area, has agreed to come back to Nebraska for the week prior to the 4th of July. And you can see some of the things there that he has agreed to do. Tuesday, June 30th, he will be part of a panel that will include Art Thompson, Dan Worth, who was the project architect, Karen Genevieve, who worked at the Sheldon and worked very closely with Norman Geske, who was the visionary for the project. And I'm forgetting somebody. Anyway, those folks will be on a panel talking about
Art
the
Thompson. Did you say?
Art Thompson. No, I'm thinking Dan Worth's wife, Lori Richards, who used to be did a documentary of the project back in the day, and so those folks will get together and do a panel. Nebraska Public Media will be streaming that so that everybody can enjoy the what they have to talk about. It'll be a fascinating discussion. John Raimondi, if you remember, was at the heart of the controversy about what is Irma's Desire and where are we gonna put that in the rest area in Nebraska. So he had town hall meetings where he explained that that was his mother's desire, Irma, that he become a sculptor. So it was all very innocent, but it caused some consternation here in Nebraska. Back in the 1976. He will be doing artist talks at Mona at the Stir Museum where he works, so there'll be a reception afterwards with the folks from the community there. That will be exciting for that community. He's gonna talk at the Joslin on Thursday, and then on Saturday, he will do a talk, and Clark, I wanted to check with you on these, so tell me if I've got this wrong. At 10 a.m., he will be at the Guard Museum.
No, it's at the Civic Center.
At Civic Center, thank you. And then if you would tell everybody about what will happen at the rededication ceremony.
Well, we
at
also
2.
have the state poet,
Jewel Rogers.
Yes, Rogers is gonna also be involved with the dedication as well as some Native Americans. Special music, it's about an hour program. The governor plans to be there right now. It's up tentatively on his schedule. And then we're also working on a 3D model of all of the high school students in the technology are doing 3D models of all the 7 sculptures that are left that will be on exhibit too. So that's sort of a neat thing that they're creating those with their 3D printers. And so that'll happen on the 4th as part of the semi-quincentennial celebration. And that'll be at 2 o'clock, and then the parade is at 4 o'clock. So that's about an hour long program.
Present time, we anticipate the governor being at that, Representative Flood, as is his district, and any of the other congressional or local dignitaries that care to come.
I think both senators will be there too.
Wonderful.
Ricketts and Fisher have been invited, so.
Should be an exciting day. I will mention that Clark mentioned the 3D sculptures. 2 things have been happening already this summer. We contracted with a conservation company, Zahner out of Kansas City, who have already come and done spruce up work on and maintenance work on all of the pieces so that they are ready. Also did work on John Raimondi's other piece, Alethea, Athleta, thank you, on the Kearney campus. And as mentioned, the Johnny Carson School has been working with the high school students to do these 3D projects. They will be part of a tour of a touring exhibit that will go from community to community along the I-80 corridor. And we are also developing an educational curriculum that Ann has been working on with the folks from Humanities Nebraska, the Nebraska Department of Education, history. So there's been some wonderful collaborations that have been created. That curriculum will be involving the statewide student base. And have I forgotten anything?
Did you mention our project with the Johnny Carson Center?
Yes, yeah, that they're helping with that program.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, so they're just off, oh, I'm sorry, yes, they're also doing describing,
It's an augmented reality program, which is where, for the Sydney sculpture.
yes.
For
It's missing.
roadway conflicts, the one that has been removed, and they will be creating a version digitally of that sculpture, so when you're out at the rest area, you can pull that sculpture up on your phone and you can see it in place at the rest area, so we can still have it represented in our programming next year.
The other goal of this project was not just to celebrate the 50th anniversary of this, but utilize this opportunity to draw attention to public art across the state and the 500-mile sculpture garden that we mentioned. So one of the things that we're doing is we are installing new signage, interpretive signage at all of these stops that will have the QR code that will allow them to not only interact with this, with the piece that is there or not there, as Megan was talking about, but also connected to the other public art information bases that we have for the Arts Council. So it'll be a wonderful opportunity to really showcase public art for all those travelers that travel across the state.
You might also say something about the grants that you're offering to the communities also. That's very
Those
generous.
communities that have the sculpture gardens will be, we have made special grants available to them through that $25,000 grant that we mentioned. We are also designating a number of grant opportunities through the other categories that we have for people who are doing pieces or projects specifically for America 250. One of the things that we are looking forward to is a new piece composed by Lance. Who's doing the new piece?
Oh, Nolan Schmidt, he's a music teacher and a composer of the Nebraska, and he's written a lot of pieces about Nebraska, so.
Which we hope to focus at the feature at the rededication ceremony or other opportunities. So there are just an awful lot of things going on. And again, it's not just the celebration of that, it's the opportunities to make all these collaborations and really draw attention to what has been there for 50 years that a lot of people don't even know about, and the communities that are connected to them. We are also working with the folks from the tourism. As you all know, they included the creative districts, 7 creative districts on their passport tour this last year. We are working with them to include 7 more, the 7 that have the sculptures on next year's tour, so that we can continue that and again, draw attention to those communities where the sculptures are.
The 500-mile sculpture garden, you're saying the celebration of that is more than just the I-80 sculptures.
Thank you.
It's everything.
Yes, it's like you were a plant asking the questions that I need.
Well, I have a follow-up to that.
Because, again, we wanted to call attention not to those 7, just those 7, but public art. And so we are doing cross promotion with the communities, everybody from Omaha and their Leahy Mall Sculpture Gardens to Lincoln, to all the way out to that Garing Civic Sculpture Garden that I mentioned before. So that all of those communities along I-80 that have sculptures and or projects that will help celebrate the 250th anniversary. We are working with Clark. That's one of the things that he's working on, is working with all of those communities to let us know what they're doing, when they're going to be doing it, so that we can showcase their work.
Okay. The follow-up question I had is, I know there's a sculpture garden in my mind in Kearney that I'm not sure is associated with NAC in any way. At Yanni Park, and are they part of that? I mean, have they? Otherwise, I'll get to somebody on their board and say, you need to contact NAC.
Well, I'll be real honest with you. One of the connections that we are still developing is with Mona, who are going to be coordinating the Kearney elements. Andrew, who's new on there, has been out of town. His staff. He is getting back to me about this artist talk, as well as some of those other elements that, any sculptures in any of those communities, not just the ones at the rest area, we hope to highlight during this. And again, through that QR code that's on the interpretive, what other opportunities are there, and eventually including our public art database for public art throughout the state.
I'll I know people on the board of that.
If I don't hear from Andrew soon, I'll call you.
I'll at least say, have you even thought of, yeah,
That'd be
I'll work
great.
from their end this way.
Perfect. Thank
Tell
you.
them it's their job.
Thank you. Any other questions? If you have any thoughts or questions anytime, please give me a holler. Sam? Thank you. Real quickly, the Nebraska State Arts Awards are coming up October 10th. They will be held in the Capitol Rotunda this year. There will be a reception afterwards at the governor's residence. You are all welcome to attend. You'll be receiving that invitation, which was put together by our very own Josh Brown. It is going out today or tomorrow, so you should be receiving that soon. There you have on the right, there are, as you know, we always ask Nebraska artists to provide the actual arts awards. This year, we asked Nancy Friedman Sanchez, who currently has an exhibit at Mona, to do the artwork. Megan, can you move quickly, talk a little bit about that art?
Yeah, so this is just one example. Basically, her work is really reminiscent of textiles and quilts, and then also her Colombian background. And so on these, they're all on Tyvek, and then she'll paint on the Tyvek and cut out these little tiny pieces and then piece them together and then paint on that. Really nice like lace work design and very lovely details. So this is one example, Plateau Kun faces. But all of the pieces are slightly different. It's a series of different types of food that are on these nice bowl like plates, and they're all very delightful and very Nancy Friedman Sanchez. So very excited to share that with all of our awardees.
As you know, we were giving a Leonard Thiessen Award to Rich Vierig this year. It's the first time we've done so in 4 or 5 years now. And I always thought that we should have an award that people would be excited to have. Not that they weren't excited about having a picture of Leonard Thiessen.
Oh, you stepped in that one.
Good save, Mike, good save.
Actually, I didn't think that they'd be excited about having a picture of Leonard Thiessen in their room, but anyway, so I asked our very own Littleton Olson, who was our outstanding artist at the last State Arts Award and married to our very own Ann Alston, if he would do, if I could commission him to put together an art award. And he did, and that's what it looks like. It's on my table in my office right now. It's really stunning. It's heavy. And
cool.
so Rich will receive that, and I think he'll be very excited.
Yes, he will.
Wow, that's nice. Can I ask, who designed the invitation that year?
Right behind you.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
That goldenrod on there, I mean, like, that's a piece of art. I'm gonna frame mine this year. That's good.
And you, me, and Canva.
That looks stylish, it's sophisticated, that's good work.
It's very neat, very neat. Now, the next 2 slides, and I won't go through all the names, you'll be receiving information, but the next 2 slides are the actual awardees, and everybody from our wonderful Gretchen Peters, who is receiving a leadership award. Cody Tallarico's been working on a lot of projects. I am gonna go through them all. Has been working on a lot of projects with us as well as the state for arts education. Daniel Martinez is a wonderful artist out of Lincoln. The International Quilt Center is finally getting recognition. Audrey Cotters is getting recognition for work she's done for a lifetime of work in the arts. We're looking forward to being able to recognize her. Lorinda Rice is a wonderful arts educator who is now on the board for Nebraskans for the Arts. And our very own Mid-America Arts Alliance is receiving an award for being a partner in the. We didn't even know you were gonna be here, Margaret, and all these things we're talking
I
about.
know, the boss is coming.
Good, good. The next slide is the rest of the awardees. Y Arts is getting an award for accessibility. Bone Creek for their organizational achievement. They just opened their new museum, Museum of Agrarian Art out in David City. The wonderful people at the Bluebird Cultural Initiative and the work that they do will receive a Heritage Award, as will, the White Clay Makerspace, down there at the bottom. Will be featuring, we'll be awarding them for the work that they do. Ruth Davison Hahn for Access to the Arts. And the other outstanding artist will be Sarah Rowe, who did one of our posters for the creative districts. Oh, and Rich Fury, who will be receiving the Leonard T. Sim Award. Okay. Next. Just you all should have received all of this in the email, but just to highlight that there will be lots of things to do after this meeting if you want to hang around. And for those of you who will be coming, staying overnight and coming to the assembly tomorrow, we look forward to that. Just so that you all know, at 6 o'clock tonight, there will be a dinner, not a dinner, but we'll be eating dinner at Nofo's Pizza Cafe. It's just an informal, hey, we reserve some space. Stop by and have some food with us. If you're taking off to get back to town, we'll eat a piece of pizza for you. And then there'll be a concert in the patio area at the District Event Center. So David Marquette will be playing there. Lots of things going on. And if you took the time to do some whitewater rafting today, that was available for you as well. It'll be there tomorrow too. So if you want to do the whitewater rafting tomorrow, those are the things that are going on. We really applaud the folks here in Norfolk for putting all this together for the Creative District Assembly. I don't know that it was all for the assembly, but it's nice to have it while all these people are here. So, and the next one, I think I'm done.
You're done.
I'm done.
Okay, program reports then. The creative districts, Rachel, what number are we at now?
Ooh, I know, did you say something every meeting to know what number we're up to? So we are up to 36 certified creative districts. There is a list there. I can't read it from back here. But you can see the stars all the way across the state. Our newest one is Dundee, the neighborhood in Omaha. So we can welcome them to the fold, and we're really excited to see them tomorrow at the assembly. Next slide. Thank you, Sam. So these are the districts that are in process. By in process, I mean they have at least sent us a letter of interest. So they're involved in the program at some level. It is still popular. It is still continuing to change. We just got a LOI a couple of weeks ago. I just got a new workbook this week. So we are still seeing progress on the program. It is something that communities are still interested in joining, which is one of the reasons that we are going to the legislature and asking for funds, because we still have more joining the fold, which is really exciting to see. So the newest, just a little frame of reference, the newest letter of interest is from Bassett, which is out west. And the newest workbook is Imperial. So again, we're seeing small communities still interested in the program and coming together to talk about creative districts and bring their communities together, which is really exciting. Next slide. One of the big things, this is a big shout out to Talisa on our staff. Talisa is data queen right now. In case you all wondered who wears the crown. She has worked so hard this year. I would say months, but it's been a long time. She has really worked at getting us accurate data for the Creative District program, getting them on an annual reporting basis that makes sense for both them and for us. So we're getting very accurate numbers that we can compare. And so this is one of the things that we are going to be including in our report to the legislature, is showing the differences in the sales tax and the lodging tax, which shows that economic impact of creative districts. It is something that communities submit to the Department of Revenue. So this is not something, we're not making up numbers, right? We are getting these from the Department of Revenue. And so you can see the first two columns are the two previous years. So we're able to compare those to the previous years before they were a creative district and what we're seeing after that certification. So we're seeing that rise go up and by quite a bit as it moves forward. So we're very, very excited to see these changes. Out of district visitors, we have learned over the years that this is something very difficult to track. And it is difficult for tourism, who works with these numbers all the time. This is something that is hard to get a grasp of. There's not a great way to track visitor data. Even if you do things like use a platform that tracks cell phones in your community, so many people now are choosing not to have their cell phones tracked, so it's still not accurate data. So it's been a really interesting conversation to have and to talk to different departments. How are you doing this? What is the best way to do this? But it is something that we ask the districts to do. We provide different ideas for them. We let them choose what works best for them, but we still want them in the habit of trying to track that data and report it in, because it is important that we tell this story. How many people are you able to bring into your community? And so these are the numbers that we're seeing. There is a huge rise. Go to the next slide, Sam, because one of these is an example. The Iron Horse Festival in Holdridge, which you see in the bottom right, there, they saw a huge increase in their attendance. Well, part of it is just learning what works. So this is the second year they've had this festival. Last year when they held it, well, they made the mistake of holding it on a Husker game day. She said, well, we have learned our lesson. Don't do that. And so some of it is really the district's learning what works and what doesn't. And so we're starting to see that over the last few years. And also them talking about and learning how to talk in that economic development language. We do work with a lot of economic development entities, but not all the time. And so in talking to Corinne in alliance with this amazing mural festival that they did in Carhenge, I started talking to her about, you know, what kind of economic impact did you see? Did you see more visitors come in that weekend? Did stores do more business? And she goes, oh, I didn't think to ask that. And so part of it is just learning how to tell that story and what it is that they're looking for. So it's been a really great last few years. And as you can see in the data, but the photos are always fun. And so these are some really big things that we're seeing. The Carhenge Festival and Alliance brought international artists to come out and do this festival. It is something that they plan on doing every year. So we're going to see these changing every year, which is really great. In addition to the murals at Carhenge, the artists showed up and they said, well, okay, what else can we do? And Corinne went, well, I paid you to do this and I don't have more money. And they said, no, we want to do more things in the community. We're here. Let us do more things. And she went, okay, I can get you paint. And so they ended up doing 15 more murals in the community while they were there. And they were like, we want to work. We want to do things. And so it was really exciting to see that happen. The Tin Roof Creative District, which is in Potter. I love the creative names, but sometimes don't know where they're from, right?
Tin Roof Sunday.
Tin Roof Sunday, it is. They are the home of the Tin Roof Sunday, in case you ever go to Potter. But they did a really lovely job documenting their volunteer hours, how many volunteers. So you'll see They had 151 volunteers that donated time.
I didn't think there were 151 people in Potter.
I think they brought people in, yeah. They like bust them in to help with this. The Robert Henright Museum opened in Cozad this year, which is very exciting. And then, as I pointed out, the festival in Holdridge, this is their second year, and they're seeing a huge amount of growth, which is really exciting. And now they're looking at how they expand that event. It started with the performance, and now they've added an artist market. They had the local high school band come and play during the day. And so they're talking about how do they keep growing it and involving the community more, which is really exciting to see.
So are your numbers for your out of town visitors, or what are they called it? Were those furnished to you from the different creative arts districts?
Yep,
And they each did it their own way?
yep. They have to tell us how they did it and they supply the numbers, but that is something that we track every year. We're tracking on an annual basis.
And it was for their events?
Yep. Yep, absolutely.
I will say that not only is we've been enjoying great success with the project, but it has grown from just an arts council project into something that it's now viewed at the legislative and at the federal level as well. Obviously, Mike Flood is always asking about it whenever he's in town or talking to folks. Senator Fisher also has been talking about it as well. So it is being part of the conversation. I just 2 days ago was asked to be on a panel by the Omaha Chamber of Commerce looking at economic growth in the coming years, and was able to talk to them about the program, its success, many of the numbers that we just talked about, and some of the stories of what has happened in these communities, and had a number of people come up to me and afterwards. So we are becoming part of the conversation when it comes to how can the state move forward economically. So that's been a indirect result of the project that we're very excited about. If we can translate that into more appropriations, then that would be great. The other thing that's happening, though, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow, is that the districts themselves have begun to look at how they can develop their own capacity, their own self-sustainability. They're working together to develop their own identity and their own best practices and shared resources and things like that. That's all been a really terrific development to the program. We're certainly going to be encouraging that and doing everything that we can to help foster it. I saw a question.
Yes, I have a question. So can you remind us of some of the key elements of eligibility to establish a creative district?
Absolutely. So I would say the cornerstone of the program is partnerships. So they need to bring in economic development, a cultural entity, and then they can decide whatever else.
Well,
But it's all-
governmental.
Thank you. I was like, governmental entity. And so it's all about bringing people together, community engagement. They have to have community engagement meetings, and the community deciding what it is that they want to see in their community, see what they want to see happen. And so they create a strategic plan. They have a workbook. Mike had the
workbook.
we're gonna create stickers. I survived the workbook.
I deserve one.
Right?
Telling ya.
Yeah. Pretty great. And so there's multiple steps to the process.
Like the eligibility requirements.
Our partnerships. We ask that the district be navigable. We like walkable. We know that's not always the case, especially in greater Nebraska. That might not happen. And then there has to be we changed the name from district administrator to managing entity or something like that. That is a nonprofit or a division of government. Who is that main point of contact? Who is the one that is going to receive the funds and is responsible for the reporting?
Copy. So to that point, I'm not sure if it's appropriate for our body, but the idea would be in terms of sustainability, there is the turn back tax, which is available in communities. and that is centered around civic centers, community centers, that sort of thing. It would seem a natural fit that these creative districts would match up for. Statutorily, they're not, it is not there yet, but is that something that?
We actually, no, it is statutory. We receive 30% of the turnback funds.
Okay,
And last year that translated into 2 development grants of $200,000. And this was before Kearney came online.
Okay.
So we anticipate having more funds come to us through that. And that is on an ongoing basis as long as they.
is that tied to each of the districts?
No, it is a pool of funds. We get the money in our cash fund.
Okay,
We include that dollars in the pool of money that we have available for the development grants.
so, I mean, maybe my concept of the understanding is wrong. So like in the metro area, I'll use CHI rather. There is a turnback tax district, right? So there's a local committee that then gets a percentage of the turnback balance from the real estate that decides and allocates the
Yeah.
resources from their portion of it. Would those local entities be eligible for the turnback tax?
No, first of all, you're not eligible if you're in one of the communities that has one.
Okay.
Ralston, Omaha,
Yeah.
Kearney, they're not eligible.
Okay.
And then the money goes to the state gives it to us, so it's all determined through our grant program.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
I'm gonna just add to that a little bit, you know, that, the creative districts get together on a video call. And we're discussing all of those kinds of issues, and sustainability is one of the key issues. And some of that is primarily, if you look at all of the creative districts, there are 15 of the creative districts that have populations of less than 5,000 people. And so that those communities, the donation that you get to the creative district from the actual government entities of that community are minimal. So to keep the creative districts moving forward, you know, that's one of the issues that we're talking about together, how we do that and keep it going from year to year to year. And so it is an issue for us, but we're working through it.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about it is that these folks, Final Fridays, is that what it's called? They get together and
Yeah.
talk on a
Yeah,
monthly
last Friday.
basis about what they're all going through and how they can work together. And they've invited Rachel to sit in on that, which we were initially kind of, you know, we wanted them to be able to just voice what they're doing and all that. Well, they invited us in, so that's been kind of neat. Rachel and obviously the work that she's doing and Talisa on moving this program forward has been very exciting, and you guys get big shout outs.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Anything else? No. Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to Creative Aging Arts Program and
Well, that got messed up.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. It's creative, man, that's what it is.
looks good when I do.
Anyway, go back to, yeah, go back to this. Yeah, so at any rate. Oh, it looks good for it.
Work with it.
So at any rate, I just thought I would share a few highlights.
She was so stunning looking at it, it just altered the layer.
Really drives me crazy. At any rate, I've talked about this program before, so you already know a little bit about it, Creative Aging Arts Program, and Mike mentioned earlier how some of those funds we're getting from the NEA, the Arts, Health and Wellness Funds, are being allocated to the Creative Aging Arts Program. And in addition, we've worked a lot with various new partners around the state, and one of the key partners that we've developed further is Nebraska Public Libraries and the Library Commission. And so this summer, with a lot of support from the Library Commission, Commissioner himself actually, we were awarded a grant from the NAC Insurance Company that is also helping to support even maybe more than half of the Creative Aging Arts grants this coming fiscal year, or the current fiscal year. The grants that Medica is supporting are specifically for creative aging workshops that take place in libraries around the state. Medica was very interested in the health and wellness aspect of what these kinds of programs do, and they're very interested in all the work. A lot of our
creative aging programs take place in rural communities and in libraries, so it's a win-win. So we're doing a lot of programs in libraries. In fact, Joshua and I are going to be presenting at State Library Association Conference next month in York. So, yeah, taking place in October, York, I forget the date, I'll find out and be there. And we'll talk about Catholic librarians there. So yeah, early in the fiscal year, we've already got 20 CAP grants in the hopper and more to come, and we'll see what happens if we run out of money by the middle of the fiscal year, but right now it's going well. And the one other thing I wanted to mention to everybody about CAP, a little update, is that this past spring, we worked closely with Think Motion Studios in Omaha to create another little video. And it's now on our website, that little screenshot from the video. I put that up there just because it's a wonderful little video. You can find it on the website under the Creative Aging Grant section. The initial video we did a year ago that some of you saw was kind of an overview of what the program is about. This particular video includes testimonials and stories by participants who really talk about the impact that the program has had on them. It's very sweet, so I look forward to sharing it widely. I hope you'll get a chance to look at it. We won't show it here. And then Sam, you can go to the next slide. The other little slide that I snuck in, it's more or less formatted, okay? It's readable. I've talked a little bit about the Arts Education Data Project before with the board. This is something that was launched a year ago. It's a data visualization tool where we take existing data that's reported by public schools annually about all the fine arts courses that are taught across the state. And it's an amazing jump forward for us because many of you may know, is education in our state is rather decentralized. So we never had a go-to source to find out where all these courses are being taught, what's happening from one school district to another. There can be a lot of variation. You can go into the AEDP, as we call it, and find out a lot of information. Well, this summer we held focus groups. So thank you, Clark. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Brenda, if you're listening. So some of our board members joined these focus groups. We wanted to find out how users from various backgrounds explore how they navigate the AEDP, what they do with the data, what they're looking for, and how we can better share that with the public. And one of the things we found was that the data can be a little overwhelming. And some people plugged right in and knew what they were going to look for and found it. Others were searching. So in the end, we decided to ask some of our participants to write up little stories about their searches on the dashboard. What did they look for? So there's a little compendium of stories by various people. Lizzie Diamond is from Omaha Performing Arts. Zach Conrad is a middle school band teacher, I think in the Italian La Vista district. Lorinda Rice, who's also getting a state arts award, is the head of fine arts for visual arts for Lincoln Public Schools. Carolyn Albrecht teaches at Wayne State Arts Education, and Debbie Martinez is the president of the Nebraska Music Educators Association. So we've got a variety of people here with little short one-page stories. The idea being, check out their stories about what they were searching for, what they found. In some cases, what they were confused by. We were pretty honest about this. They're little one-page snippets with the idea that maybe this will provide insights to more people about how to navigate AEDP. So that's what I had to share. Any questions?
I would just put forward to anybody that is data hopping and wants to look at that kind of stuff, that they can only get data from courses that are for credit. So if it looks like, what the heck is going on with theater? Well, if there's not a theater class for credit, doesn't matter if they have 500 people in the cast, there's no data on that. So just be aware of that. when you're looking. There's lots of good stuff happening around the state and theater, but I think they're only assessing 4 credit
It's
things.
true. It's
Not
only,
any
it's,
extracurricular.
exactly.
Yeah, things that happen after school aren't considered.
Correct.
Well, it's not, unfortunately, excuse me, those things aren't tracked as far as what is reported annually by the schools.
Right.
And yeah, there are limitations. So you'll find what I think is really good data about visual arts courses and music courses.
Yeah.
You'll see dance looks limited, even though we know there are tons of dance programs after school, out of school, maybe even part of a PE program, but they're not going to be reflected here. And the same is true with a lot of the theater programs, so it's true. Yeah, Lance?
That leads to the conversation where theater education is not an endorsement in the state of Nebraska. You're usually
Right.
getting it's a sub endorsement, so you get a language arts and
Or speech.
or speech.
Yes.
So that's actually, there's been some work and the advocacy work with the Department of Ed to change that. And Midland University actually, I think, was granted an opportunity to build the program. So, and if that could start to spread, that would be great, because that would help, because I think that.
Right.
Yeah, my understanding is that a lot of the English teachers or language arts teachers or speech teachers have that extra endorsement in theater. But then again, often those programs in particular is very strong in the state. But a lot of those programs are offered as after-school programs.
Right.
We
One act,
haven't
speech
found a
debate.
way to capture that because it's simply not reported universally. So.
But I still found it very encouraging that day to look at all that stuff with a group of other people, because we hear so much, maybe fair, gloom and doom about arts education. And I left so encouraged that at least in our state, there's a bunch of people that are still saying, we're not gonna cut that. We're gonna have that. That was very encouraging to me.
Anecdotally, just traveling around the state, especially in some very rural areas where I was just surprised to find out how robust the arts education coursework was and the programs were, so.
Speaking as an arts educator, there will be plenty of music opportunities also that are outside of curriculum.
Right.
That we would be missing. And I would say, I think most, speaking for the music community, we've been trained from the cradle about advocacy. So I don't know who would be the person to reach out, but music and arts teachers would likely self-report things that aren't automatically reported by the school if we wanted that data.
We are entering the final year of a 3-year commitment to this data project, and I think one of the things that we'll be looking at is the continued value of this project, but then how can we provide ancillary
Yeah.
information as
Augment,
well,
yeah.
and self-reporting may be the only way to
It
get
might
that
be.
extracurricular information, but how can we do that in a way that's consistent as the report? Because it's gonna be very important, not only to the work that we do for the Arts Council, but for the creative districts, because one of the key elements that we're learning about the creative districts is the viability, the livability of a community is oftentimes determined upon what opportunities there are for their children to learn arts and art education, that sort of thing. So this information and that after-school information is gonna be very important for the creative districts going forward.
Yeah, well, I would love it if we could pursue something to capture that additional information, the out of school, after school programming. We're not there yet.
Hmm.
But I have to say, after many years of being very frustrated that I couldn't get at this kind of data, it's now available. It's not perfect. It's reported by the schools. Occasionally mistakes are made. But it's becoming more and more accurate, as the Department of Education works closely with all of the schools that report the data. So it's becoming refined year by year.
It's a
So,
vital step.
yeah, it's a big step.
In your focus groups, do they talk about doing some research based off of this data, like looking at school attendance and tardiness and all that type of stuff
You
too?
know, they've done. So the Arts Ed Data Project is offered by a company called Quantum Research, and they've worked with, I think, 40 states on different levels. And there are some states that dig deeper into the individual student data, which we don't do. I know Virginia does, and they did some research. The state of Virginia actually used their data, which digs into individual student information. We don't have those permissions at this point. Maybe that would be in the future, and they found that there are correlations between arts participation and retention. I mean, so. I'd love to see that. I don't think we're quite there yet.
It has been good to have, the members from the council, help us with feedback on this, and Brenda and Brian and Lance, as we go forward and study the viability of this thing, your input on it, obviously from your background, will be very helpful as well.
Absolutely. Okay.
Ann has really taken on a heck of a job with this, and so thank you very much for.
Yeah.
Okay.
About the data, just really quick.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, if it's like NASA and Mid-America maybe back this up. Once they found out once they found out the NEA data was shared outside to the public, the data got better. So I think we're gonna start to see that with the AEDP data, that now that they know it's being presented statewide and nationally, I think maybe we'll see some improvement.
Well, that, and I really owe credit specifically, I work really closely with Cody Rico at the Department of Ed a lot. And Cody has really done monumental work reaching out when the first year we did this, when he discovered there was some big district out west, I don't remember which one, but he knew from personal experience, they had a lot of arts. The data was off. It showed that there was no visual arts in that particular district. He reaches out to these districts saying, hey, let's work on this together. And so it is improving, and a lot of it has to do with his personal efforts.
So it's a good thing he's getting an artist. Okay, let's move on to public art and artist services with Megan.
Okay. So, 1% for art update. We're still going strong. We have
Yay.
fun, yes, yay! We have a ton of projects still ongoing, still coming through. I had a first meeting for the UNMC Residence Hall yesterday. And that will be one of our last really big budgets. From here forward, we will be looking at a $300,000 cap. Pending any future legislative work that we
It's
do
gonna
to
happen.
remove that cap. But right now, that was part of the last legislative session where we do have a few edits. As of right now, we are still working with our grandfathered in projects, and so the residence hall will be about $600,000, 1% of the budget. This project, on the other hand, was just completed over at Chadron State College, the Math and Science building. And it was not as large of a budget. It was around $100,000. But I asked the artist, because this is a pretty significant land work piece. It spans the whole green space in front of the building. And there's some really cool pictures from inside the space looking out. And I asked the artist, like, do you normally work with smaller budgets like this? And he's like, oh yeah, I like to try to figure out ways to use the budget in like a really effective way and get the most out of it. So there are people who like are really challenged by that and find effective ways to do it. He is from the Northwest Pacific region of the United States, and so he hadn't been to Nebraska very much before. Definitely not Chadron. And he came out and spent time with the students and the faculty and really researched the science and the math and what makes that region special. And then incorporated that into like this water, this kind of rendering of what the water looks like in Nebraska. And if you look at it from the bottom of the hill, you can kind of see like the tributaries of the creek. And then there are there's a segment that has all of the paleontological renderings, and then there's a section that has the way that the rocks are formed, and then there's a part that's all the prairie flowers. So it's a very special piece, and everyone in Chadron is so excited to be able to use those elements in their classwork and be able to build off the research that he did and that the faculty are doing, and then mesh that into what they're doing in the classroom. So really cool project, and that's just that's just one of them, so I'll keep them coming. Next slide. Mike mentioned already about the I-80 sculpture conservation, but I thought you might like some pictures. Pictures are always great to see. So this in particular is the piece out near Seward. So we'll be here next year for the dedication at this sculpture site. Zaner Conservation is the group that we hired. They're out of Kansas City, and they do a lot of really great work, especially with metal work. But they do have in like metal construction. They, for example, worked on the St. Louis Arch. So they are a pretty big deal in the world of architecture and sculptures. And they I think they did a really great job. So you can see, for example, it was a slew of different techniques that they were using. But for one, you can see the difference, just go point out, where the power washer, you can see the level of brine versus after it was cleaned. And that's just like ongoing buildup. So it is really important to conserve your artworks on a regular basis so that buildup doesn't cause corrosion over time. And so this all was funded through the Cooper Foundation, the conservation this time. And we will hopefully be able to conserve them again in the future, which will also mean additional funds for that. So just something that we will be thinking about, because we would like to see these another 50 years at the rest areas. So we'll plug there. Next slide, please.
And it had never been done before, had it?
It had been.
What did?
Yes, there were in about 2012 and 2013, the Cooper Foundation funded another maintenance and conservation round, and that one was a little bit more significant because there were some structural issues with some of the sculptures. So on that one, they had to split between 2 different years. This time there weren't a lot of structural issues, so it was really surface maintenance and surface conservation. Really, we should be doing that every year, but it's between $15,000 and $20,000 just for surface conservation to that level. Here's another slide to this conversation. Another fun thing that I got to do on this adventure, I went out to be with the conservators at each of the sculptures as they were getting cleaned. And then I also set up meetings with each of the communities that has a sculpture. So I did take some selfies with a few of them, if I remembered. I'm not great at taking pictures, so didn't remember with all of them. But here I am with Irma's Desire and the folks from Grand Island. And then this is way out in Brady or North Platte is the closest one. So it was really, really a great time to go see the conservation work being done and to start developing a relationship with those people. Zaner Conservation is planning to help us have a webinar later this winter, I think, about conservation and the importance of sculpture conservation, especially for people in cities across Nebraska, towns across Nebraska, as you're adding artwork, murals, sculptures, whatever it is, and how to conserve that and how to think about planning for that as you're commissioning new work.
Might mention, Megan, unless you already did and I missed it, but it was also an opportunity to meet with some of the local contacts.
Yeah.
You can see Chris Hochstetler there at Irma's Desire, talk to the people who are gonna be putting together the ceremonies and rededication activities in the coming year. So it was a good opportunity to meet with them as well.
It was. I really enjoyed, and it was just nice to have a face-to-face, because we've had some great meetings with Clark, kind of forging the path as far as what we could be doing in those communities, but it was really nice to have a face-to-face conversation to kind of talk through in person some of the thoughts about what's happening like that. And I think everyone is feeling a little bit behind, but the good news is everyone's feeling a little behind. So no one is like out of place in that. So it was really helpful to have those meetings. Next slide, please. I also wanted to mention that the Individual Artist Fellowship is currently open. This is an annual program where we fund individual artists throughout the state. It rotates between visual arts, literary arts, and performing arts. So if you know of any theater or theater or playwrights, screenwriters or filmmakers, choreographers, or what was the last one? Musicians, music and sound artists. Please let them know that this is currently open, or you can let me know their name and I'll look them up and send them an email. So I'm right now just trying to get the word out to all of the artists.
Not actors. Actors aren't eligible. What do you gotta do?
Yeah. All right, it's all originating artists.
And what's that a picture of?
Oh, good question. So this was one of our previous awardees for choreography.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I just forgot her name.
Lauren Simpson.
Lauren, thank
She's a
you,
friend of
Maggie.
mine. I was at one of those.
Freddie
performances.
lives.
Yeah.
Me too. So Lauren Simpson, she's a choreographer out of Omaha, and during the pandemic, she was like, people need to experience art. I don't care if you're at home. So she would take requests, and you could like come up with a group of people that would sit out in your front lawn, and they would come do a choreography performance at your house for you. And it was so special. And then you could see like people out walking their dogs would stop and be like, what? It was a really, really special.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
We all.
I love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, and so I did tell her that it's open again and that she should apply, because she also has a piece at the Jocelyn right now, in the Made in the Plains exhibition. You can imagine a choreographer. Okay, last slide, please.
Nobody ever get it. Hair. I said nobody's getting tan in that picture.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so for folk and traditional art, we have now transitioned this program into the artist services portion of my title. And so you will be hearing from me, and I am excited to share with you some of the things that have been happening since I stepped into the role. For one thing, one of the first things we did was get a contract signed for our apprenticeship program, which has been in development long before I started in this role. But Ellen Struve is our research associate, and she's been working with the two artists, Valerie Kills-Crow Copeland and Kim Bedford, and we have a contract signed now for them to get paid for their apprenticeship work, and they have just hit the ground running. They're doing a series of quilt making workshops, and they're making quilts, and then they will also be creating a brochure about how to make star quilts specifically. And they will also be coaching classes along the way. So these are a series of photos that Ellen shared with me about what the work that they're doing. And so hopefully we will have a brochure to share, and plenty more pictures. I can't wait to see the outcome of this. I also wanted to mention that I went to a conference in Arkansas, was part of the Mid-America Arts Alliance funding, and they brought together all of the Mid-America Arts Alliance state agencies and other people who are working in folk and traditional art. It was called the Folklore Gathering, and it was a really wonderful group of people, very varied in the different traditions that we're focused on, and the different types of ways to research folklore. And so as I'm stepping into this role, it was a really great way to start meeting new contacts in the field, and to hear some possibilities as far as who we might partner with moving forward to make our money go farther and our time and effort like have a bigger bang for that effort. So it was really great, and I will be participating in American Folklore Society has a a Hive mentorship group also, where they partner you with other people in the field and help you learn more about how to proceed in the folklore and tradition program. So more on that soon, but really excited to share with you about the apprenticeship discussion.
Just reiterate that on top of all the work that Megan's had to do, to help us try to save the 1% for our program, she has taken on the focus additional art and, has provided a lot of new energy for it and a lot of new direction. Wonderful job with that.
Good.
Any other
Thank you,
questions?
thank
Okay.
you. Arts, health and wellness, Josh and Jennifer.
All right, sure. A few different realms here. There's a big field of opportunity here with arts, health and wellness. If you've ever been a part of a arts workshop or an informal group that does stuff, if you've been to play, you can speak to this yourself. The social opportunity there is huge. And also opportunities for building skills, becoming more well. Well, we want to take a closer look at that. And some of what we're doing with our arts, health and wellness funds from the NEA that Mike was talking about earlier is taking a close look. We are in the kind of partner search phase of this. We have some early leads and it's looking like a lot of excitement, a lot of exciting possibilities there. We're also doing some free things, surveying teaching artists and constituents to learn about what makes them feel well when they're interacting with the arts. Constituents are also thinking about these things. The Rose Theater, Omaha Performing Arts, and the Lincoln Symphony Orchestra are all working on projects. One that we recently got from Kearney Symphony, or Kearney area Symphony Orchestra that's not up on there, but I think is really neat is they are working on a saxophone that only has only one hand.
I've heard about that.
It's a really fascinating project, and they've come to us to get some money for that. So that will put them up to 2 of these custom built saxophones, and that came from a leader there who had a stroke and was no longer able to play his instrument. So he had one of these made, and now he wants to return that to the community, making another one. So very exciting. Grants happening there, and constituents are doing amazing things. One thing that I would love all of you guys to participate in, if you can, or if you know somebody that would really benefit from learning about arts and disability and access to the arts. Send them my way. We are starting this wonderful collaborative called the Arts Access Collaborative of Nebraska. We're calling it ACON. Sounds very cool. And we've got really lovely partners there. Shelby Sear and Carrie Knapp are 2 arts access professionals that know just a whole lot about this, and they're making sure I don't do anything dumb. When I'm putting this stuff together, they've been terrific so far. So that was made possible with funds from the Sherwood Foundation. We were really fortunate to receive a nice grant from them to support some of our arts accessibility improvement grants. And I said, hey, we would like to do some professional development, some convening to go along with that, because the conversations need to happen and we can facilitate them. So the plan is on November 4th, Tuesday at 2 p.m. We're gonna have our first meeting over Zoom, and we're gonna just bring people from rural and urban communities from all sizes of organization together to discuss issues around arts accessibility, what they've struggled with, where they've had success. And we also want to talk about how to fund this work, because it's not cheap. It's not cheap to put a new hole in your wall and a power bill. But with this grant program, we can help a little bit and point them towards places where they can have even more success with fundraising. So that's really exciting. I cannot wait to see how it comes together. Thank you to Maggie too for helping me with that Sherwood grant that made it all possible. So we're really looking forward to seeing what happens with this thing.
And I just wanted to give you guys an update on the NEA. as you may know from previous conversations, the NEA a few years ago, became very interested in the arts, health and wellness arena around that social isolation and loneliness. We saw it during COVID, and so they have now been able to put extra funds into our NEA grant. This year is the research, the money we're using now is for research. So we're gonna apply for another 50,000 next year. That's gonna focus on, disseminating that research and, trying to find different ways, to spread what we've learned around the community, with the hope of maybe in year 3 being able to do some pilot projects. We wanna do a pre-conference as part of the, next year's, STARS conference, to be a chance to bring everybody together. The NEA has committed to this, it's ours as long as we apply for it, which is nice, because it was competitive last year, so they seem to be committed, but this extra money that we've been able to kind of pilot some stuff with is thanks to the NEA, and so we'll hopefully they'll continue it for the next few years, and we'll just kind of have to wait and see.
Well, and from
If
my
everybody's
standpoint, part of that research is looking at how do we sustain these as a small, we are no longer just a granting arts organization anymore. How can we sustain all of these programs that you've heard about? Through not only the support staff, but through partners and other organizations and individuals that we can contract to help make all this happen, so.
Yeah, so we're trying to focus on just grant making, arts and arts education and systems change, knowing that the systems change probably comes from other partners. And just one quick example, we worked with, Nebraska Cures in STEM, that works with STEM. And she gave me some advice to talk to them after school programs, very much to what you talked about, Clark. That's a way to get in with some of those art groups that are after school. And I know we're over time, so I will stop it there. But, and I think Michelle, you were on one, I think Michelle Dudley was on one of the calls.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah,
It was
did you-
very informative.
Yeah,
And I love that they are now having the statistics to prove arts and wellness.
Yeah.
You know, how it increases depression and loneliness and isolation, and I really enjoyed the Zoom.
and it's a way, I mean, we have creative districts to talk about the economic development, and then arts and health and wellness and talk about the holistic approach that our cat arts has to every aspect of their life for health and wellness, so. It's a way to make art relevant across arenas.
Thank you.
Obviously, a lot of work in this new area, and Josh and Jennifer, as well as Ann, have taken on an awful lot to make that all happen, so thank you.
Okay, I know we're over time, but can you all hang on for 5 more minutes if we have a quick executive session to finish some unfinished business from the June meeting? Okay, somebody move.
I move.
Jack moves, somebody second.
Second.
Okay, Lawson second, and everybody said yes.
Yes, but when you enter an executive session, you have to say what the subject was.
Okay, the subject will be executive director self.
Thank you.
Can I just say, everybody said yes? Everybody
Yes.
say yes? Okay.
Yes.
I will make it.
Quick executive session.
I believe that. That would
Okay, I need a motion to come back into open meeting. Somebody want to make that motion?
Right.
James,
Hold on,
James, come back into the meeting.
Debbie's asking us to hold for a second.
Done.
Thank you.
Okay. Who was number 1?
Okay, James to go back into open session, somebody second,
Goranson second.
okay? Everybody,
everybody agree?
everybody agrees.
Okay.
Okay, we are back into open session. I entertain a motion.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to give the executive director of NAC a bonus in the amounts discussed in executive session.
Second by Raj.
Everybody, want me to do the
No, you did it well.
Yeah.
Hampshire,
Yes.
Boxford,
Yes.
Chief?
No.
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 Dudley,
Yes.
Goranson,
Yes.
Jacobson,
No.
Coulterman,
Yes.
Laughlin,
Yes.
Roush,
Yes.
Salerno,
Yes.
Wright,
No.
and Dunning.
Okay, any other business? Great, then, I'm sorry it's so late. A motion for adjournment, please?
People move.
Dudley second.
Thank you. Everybody votes. to
But I
adjourn.
don't mention.
Next board meeting is virtual, December 9th. We'll see you all on Zoom, and I think some of you are coming tomorrow and
If you're gonna go on the tour,
We are gonna meet